right there to the right of you. That is my guy, Michael Coleman. Michael, sports director of KLTV, the ABC affiliate in Tyler, Texas. Michael, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing good. I mean, we've had this crazy week 3 of the NFL season, and college football is even turning in a few surprises so early.
Yeah, they are. They are. We're gonna get into the NFL Week 3 for a little bit, but I'm gonna give you some quick hits, Mike, and I just want to get your thoughts on a couple of them. Our
All
first
right.
quick hit before we get to the meat and potatoes is Floyd Mayweather. Money Floyd Mayweather hinted at a rematch with Mike already shaking his head. Conor McGregor in 2023. McGregor would post a photo from their previous fight from 2017, and he captioned it, "Not interested." Mike, what you think about this? Is this
Hey, man, they setting us up. It's going to happen. I mean, if they want to make some money, they know there'll be some people out there that'll do the pay-per-view and go to the fight. It's going to happen. We just saw the first phase of
Yeah.
of the back and forth. It's going to happen. And why would McGregor not? I mean, to me, it'd be the other way around. If McGregor was saying it's happening, Floyd would be the one saying no, because
Right.
Floyd don't need McGregor. McGregor
Right.
needs Floyd. So
Right.
they're flipping the script. It's going to happen.
And where the people don't even want it. Be honest with you, I could care less. Floyd Mayweather
No.
he's fighting exhibition fights. He just fought the guy over in, I think, Japan or somewhere, some exhibition bout last week. I'm like, don't nobody really care about this, him fighting MMA and UFC guys anymore. So anyway, I'm not interested. I just thought that people would be, I would want to know what they thought about that.
Yeah, you know what? They'd be better off, the fans, just pulling up the first fight between Ali and Frazier and watching.
I agree. I know that's right. I'm with you, Mike. Now, our other quick hit, the Bedlam series is ending when Oklahoma leaves for the SEC by 2025. No more Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma. The series began in 1904, and the Sooners lead the all-time series 90, 19, and 7. Mike, what you think about this series ending once
Well,
the Sooners
you know, it's probably a good thing because OU and Texas can't compete against the Big 12 teams as it is, considering what happened this past weekend with Oklahoma getting dropped by Kansas State. They even beat Oklahoma when Lincoln Riley was there. And then Death Valley. That's what I call Lubbock when it comes to UT. They just cannot, I don't care who the coach is, when they go out there to Lubbock, they come back with a 0. So enjoy the Bedlam because it's like all the other great rivalries that come to an end.
Right.
That's just another one that's about to be dropped.
Yeah, this happened when Texas, Texas A&M left for SEC, and Texas A&M and Texas couldn't figure out the scheduling. I think a lot of people don't understand these football programs. They schedule games like 5-6 years down the line. So a lot of times when these rivalries don't happen anymore, it's because of scheduling conflicts. But you hate to see that. You would think that they would figure out a way to make it happen. What's up, Charles?
Well,
thanks for joining us.
Well, just a couple of weeks ago was OU Nebraska. And I thought, you know what? I want to see the beginning of this game because it's not going to be like it used to be. And I was right, because by the time I tuned in, it was 7-7, OU was driving, and it was over.
Right. So we there we have it, but we still got it. They're still going to meet at least maybe 2 more times. Oklahoma and Texas may leave by 2024. So next year might be the last year of that Bedlam series. Now, our last quick hit, Yankees Aaron Judge. Mike, he's still stuck on 60. Am I correct? I think he's still stuck on 60. Okay.
He said, I think maybe 6 games to break it, to reach 61. One game got rained out. They called because of rain.
Right.
I think that was the final game against the Red Sox. So he's still waiting to hit 61, man.
Yeah, and that 61 would tie Roger Maris for the American League record. Outside of all that, Judge is leading the American League in batting average at 340, at 317, and RBIs at 128. So yeah, he's looking to get in that club around. He's not going to get 73. He's not going to get 70. I don't think that's going to happen.
And I'm glad you brought that number up because folks are acting like 61 is the record.
Right.
No, Barry Bonds has the record. And I've been seeing some back and forth on social media because they bring up the PEDs and all that. All I know is
Mm,
In the record books, Barry
yeah.
Bonds' name is right there, 73.
I agree with you. We're going to talk a little bit more on that a little bit later when we talk about Albert Pujols. But now let's get into our NFL Week 3 recap. Let's talk about the game that happened last night. Cowboys at the Giants. Man, let me tell you, I did my pick'ems, and I didn't think the Cowboys were going to win this game, but I had it a close one. I had it 20-12 Giants. Cowboys end up winning that game 23-16 last night. And I got a cornerback that had 11 last year. He sealed the deal for him with that fourth quarter interception, Trayvon Diggs. And I think it was like 117 left in that game. And the Cowboys defense, man, they just made life miserable for Daniel Jones. Mike, what was your take on the Cowboys
Well,
Giants last
I
night?
had the Cowboys winning by 5, and my rationale was Cooper Rush and the QB for the Giants, they're probably of the same level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wasn't facing a 3-time Pro Bowler or anything like that. So that was the equalizer. And I felt the Cowboys defense would continue to perform. You know, I thought that game would be more about territory, a short field, because the defense will do some things. It was CeeDee Lamb who make that catch.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, you need to change your number to 80. But
right.
But he gets to keep it. He gets to keep it in a big way for that. Because that last drive, all the balls went to him.
Yeah.
You know, and that was a good redemption for him. So, yeah, and they're 2-0. They're 2-0 without Dak, and I think that speaks well. And it's like my friend Clarence Hill posted on with Twitter. He said, "I bet you the Cowboys will never put Cooper Rush through waivers again. They'll lose them if they do."
I don't think they should be all that excited now. The guy, no, obviously he's 3-0. He's won every time he started, but
he's
pump your brakes now. Pump your brakes now. Cooper Rush he's still Cooper Rush.
He's a capable backup. And you know what they did? Right. And I think this is what I want them to do when Dak comes back. Streamline the playbook. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that's obviously what they did with Rush. Right. Like, dude, we're going to forget all those plays. We're taking a bunch of pages out. We're going to streamline it and do the same thing with Dak. Not that Dak can't do it, but y'all get him so many different things to try to do. Minimize what he has to do and maximize what he can do with the ground game and with CeeDee and the tight ends. Those tight ends last night, Dalton Schultz didn't play. Them tight ends that came in were kids. They performed.
Yeah. And back, Charles Moore said something back about Bonds, the greatest hitter in baseball history, Barry Bonds. I mean, you know, he's definitely in the conversation. You know, there's some others, Tony Gwynn, but anyway, we'll talk about that later when we get to Albert Pujols. Now, the Cowboys did run the ball. I thought that was a key last night, Mike. They had, I think, total as a team, they had 176 yards rushing, I believe. Tony Pollard had 13 carries for 105 yards. They were able to run the football, and they talked about Jason Peters. He played left guard last night. He did not have to play left tackle because Tyler Smith held his own. What you think about the Cowboys running game and what it looked like last night?
It was on point, and the Smith kid, the rookie, held his own against the guy Evan Neal, I believe is his name, who was a first rounder out of Alabama. And you know, Smith comes out of Tulsa. And he was eating his lunch. Right. And so you saw the dynamic of the Thunder and Lightning with Pollard and Zeke. Because Zeke got those hard yards at the one. He's a physical runner. And Pollard, once he breaks, you're not going to catch you.
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys they got sacks. Charles says boring game on Sunday and Monday. Charles says Zeke days are numbered. I agree with that second part, but he's still a capable back, in my opinion. He can't do what he used to do, but he can still do a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the Cowboys D had 5 sacks. They had like 20 pressures. I mean, listen, if the Cowboys D continue to play like that, getting pressure on the quarterback, they're going to be able to keep themselves in games. Because I think offensively, they still not there. But I think defensively, this team is going to have to be carried by the defense. What's your thoughts on that?
No, and I felt like when we broke from training camp, that was going to be their calling card. I can't remember the last time the Cowboys had 3 defensive players on their media guy. It's always a quarterback or the coach or maybe a Zeke. No, it was Diggs, Parsons, and Lawrence on the front page of the media guide. And I said, this is how they're going to make their living. And so far, I mean, now it's out of necessity, but they held their own against Tampa too.
Yeah, right. They did. So the Cowboys moved to 2-1. They got the Washington Commanders up next this coming Sunday. The Giants dropped to 2-1, and they will host the Bears. Now let's move on to the big game, in my opinion, of the day. Well, it was two, but this one was big. The Bills at the Dolphins. That was the early game. Hey, Dolphins, man, they came to play, Mike. Did you check out any of that game?
I watched it wire to wire, man. And I had said going into that game, thinking Buffalo's going to win, but the determination was going to be what's the scoring gap, the margin between the Bills and the Dolphins. I'm like, if the Dolphins can play anywhere between a 3 to 9 point loss, they about it. But I didn't have them winning. I'm not going to lie. I did not have them winning. And you saw all the numbers that Buffalo, the yards and all of that, and they were economical. The Dolphins were economical in that win, man.
Yeah. I had the Bills winning this game 31-21. Actually, the Bills lost 19-21. And then Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, had a meltdown. I don't know if you saw that. I didn't get to see the video. I don't know if there was video. Charles says Tua has weapons now. Yeah, I agree. He definitely got the weapons.
And you know what? He has the weapons, but Tyreek only had 33 yards receiving, which I think is a good thing. When they come out with that win, he was hardly a factor.
Yeah, the Bills had coming into that game, they were 3-0 against Tua. Tua hadn't beaten them. But now, this definitely gives the AFC East a different look, The Bills are undefeated. The Dolphins are undefeated, sitting at the top of the AFC East. Obviously, it's still early, but that definitely gives the Dolphins a little bit of confidence in their first year head coach Mike McDaniel as well. Would you think?
And they've been like taking shots at Tua. I remember when Tua won that national championship at Alabama. And I said, wow, and that's the first time I really seen him. I said, wow, this dude is pretty good. Then he goes to, was it Philadelphia? He went to Philly, didn't work out. Did he go to Philly? Was he a Philly?
No. You talking about Tua?
He was Miami's guy.
Yeah, he was Miami. Okay. Yeah, they drafted him.
Miami. Okay. I don't know why I thought he was at Philly and they couldn't deal with it. But, getting weapons. Yeah. And Tyreek said he's acting. And he was on the money Sunday.
Yeah, he got him. Charles said there is some video that melted down, so I'm gonna have to check that out. But anyway, so yeah, that was a good game. I think the Dolphins showed that they not, again, this is week 3. I don't want to be overreacting because I still think, but you got to give it at least 8 weeks into the season. To really tell what a team is. But I still think the Bills are the best team in the AFC. Yeah, they lost this one, but again, it was only 21-19. The Bills they was out a lot of starters. They lost their safety Micah Hyde for the season. They lost one of their starting cornerbacks didn't play. 2 of their defensive tackles didn't play. So they were kind of down on the defensive side. So again, I'm not taking away from the Dolphins win. I just think the Bills didn't come with all their bullets either. So, anyway, so we'll move on from that. That's the AFC East. Let's talk about the America's game of the week. Packers at the Buccaneers. Packers came in at 1-1. The Buccaneers 2-0. And man, let me tell you, I picked this game not with my fandom, but with the football analysis that I thought I had. I've had the Bucs winning this 24-18. The Packers end up stealing this one 14-12. Mike, what was your thoughts on this?
That was the right word you said, stealing. They stole that sucker. And these two are going to meet again, I know they went for that 2 and they couldn't get it didn't happen for them and all that kind of stuff. And I know Todd must have had the big screen checked out. Hey, man, forget the big screen. Just be concerned forget about what Rodgers said. He's kind of baiting y'all probably. But for Rodgers not to have these supreme elite receivers that we've been hearing about, he came through in the run. The Jones and
AJ Dillon, AJ
Lazard.
Dillon, and
Yeah,
Lazard, the receiver.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was a lower scoring game than I thought it would be,
Me too.
but it makes sense because you had the two high profile quarterbacks,
Yeah.
and Bucs didn't have Mike Evans, you
Right.
know. So there was a lot of neutralizing between these two teams, and really the marquee guys were the ones you had to pay attention to, and we did.
Yeah. And Charles says, going back to the Bills, he says the Bills need a running game. Allen passed the ball 63 times. You're right. They can't pass it. That's crazy.
They established a running game last year a little bit. But
That's too much. You can't do that. Yeah, that's
a
little bit too much. Yeah, and speaking of going back to the Packs Bucs, the two starting quarterbacks, both they are combined age of 83 years old together. If you combine their ages, Rodgers is 38, Brady turned 45 in August. And coming into this game, Brady had 4-1 up 4-1 victories up on Rodgers, where Rodgers is now has another victory, so it is 42. Now the Bucs defense lead the NFL with 10 sacks and have forced 6 turnovers. Actually, the Packers offensive line held up a little bit better than I expected on Sunday. In my opinion.
You're right. They did, because we know what Tampa's defense is all about, but I was really surprised. And I imagine the Packers are beat up too, and got people playing in positions who aren't really ready yet, but they don't have a choice, but they will be by mid-season.
All right. So that was the Tampa Bay, that was the Bucs and the Packers. The Packers that was a big win for them to move to 2-1, and the Buccaneers dropped to 2-1. Now, our last NFL Week 3 recap game, the Rams, the Super Bowl champs, 1-1, was at the Cardinals. And I missed on this one too, Mike. I had the Cardinals after that great overtime victory last week against the Raiders. I had them winning this 24-17. The Rams showed that, they still can play a little defense. They ended up winning this game 20-12. Did you catch any of this, Mike? And what's your thought?
I didn't catch that, but when I saw the box score and saw some clips, I don't know what to think about this Arizona team, man. I don't even know who they are. I mean, they needed a last fumble recovery, scoop and score to win 2 weeks ago almost against the Raiders, who I don't know what they're doing either. And it just doesn't seem like Kyler Murray gets excited until the backs are against the wall. And I don't get that with him.
Yeah, I don't get that either. But, I mean, they still show that they're the champs, Matthew Stafford had a pretty decent game. He wasn't too bad, but he wasn't crazy, didn't light it up either. And the Rams are they've owned the Cardinals. They're 11 of 12 now versus the Cardinals since 2017, including the last win 34-11 in the NFC wildcard game. So again, that was Super Bowl champs. They moved to 2-1. Cardinals dropped to 1-2. That NFC West is going to be. It's going to be pretty much probably like the AFC West. I think both those divisions are going to be beating up on each other, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the hottest topic of the week, Mike, and I know you got thoughts on this. We're talking about the Boston Celtics suspended coach Ime Udoka. He's been suspended for 1 year for improper relationship with a Boston Celtic female staff member. According to Shams Charania from The Athletic, some members of the Celtics organization became aware of the relationship back in July. Sources said leadership was led to believe it was consensual. Fast forward a few weeks later, sources said that the woman recently accused Udoka of making unwanted comments toward her, leading to the team to launch an internal investigation and hire a law firm. I know you got some thoughts on it because I do. What is your take on this whole situation in Boston?
What would Doughboy do?
Oh, wow.
I pulled that out. Boys in the hood. Well, you hear things like I've heard now that she is married to some hotshot executive with the Celtics, which I thought, okay, that could be a reason why. Then I heard the way they got busted was this technology is going to get you in trouble.
It's going to get you, for sure.
It's going to get you. I know it's progress and all, but supposedly he saw them and heard them on the doorbell ringer camera.
The husband heard
Yeah.
the wife
Yeah, I mean,
talking. Yes.
yeah, just don't even put that in. Just make them knock at the door. He can stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I think it's wrong. He got the punishment, and you're keeping him from getting another job. If you're going to suspend him for a year, just fire him.
Thank you.
Because that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do when they lift the suspension. That's what they're going to do. They're going to fire this guy.
Right.
And I don't know if they cut the salary or what the deal is on that. But I think he got a raw deal. And, relationships in offices is an age-old thing. It goes on and on. And, I mean, I'm speaking from experience, but I ain't getting in trouble because I'm married now. But I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying that if he broke the rules, okay, but she broke the rules too. And maybe she's covering for herself, and that's how she's not getting suspended. I don't know. I mean, everybody, everything I've read, it was consensual.
Yeah, and you hit on the points that I was going to hit on. Megan Young, thanks for joining me. Never seen you before. Thanks. Make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media if you haven't already. Share it as well. Make sure you subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube and follow it on Facebook as well. And I agree. My thing is, the Celtics, in my opinion, or as an organization, they definitely mishandled this. This should not have even gotten out.
Right.
I'm not Stephen A. Smith. A lot of times I don't agree with him, but he really hit this one on the head. This should either you fire him or you suspend him, and this does not get out. This stays in house. That's what you do. And to me, the Celtics have definitely handled this wrong. If he did break, well, obviously he did. If he broke the Celtics protocol as far as that fraternizing organization, how come the woman didn't get suspended? Shouldn't she be suspended as well?
Yep.
In my opinion. And then he's the one taking all the heat. Again, let me say this: he was wrong because he's a fiance, by the way, by the actress of Nia Long, who's also collateral damage in this as well. She's getting unwanted attention that she doesn't deserve, but that's neither here nor there. She's a big girl; she'll be okay. But this should have been handled in house, and I just think the Celtics fire Udoka. Don't not suspend him. Fire him so at least he can try to move on with his career. Because his career is shot in Boston. He can't come back there, coach. How you gonna do that?
No, he's not. There's no way he can. That's why I'm like, why don't you go ahead and just do the inevitable? And in a year's time, it kind of wears off a little bit. But just because as soon as you lift the suspension, say we're going to fire you, it's like it's as fresh as it is now. The storyline.
And I'm gonna tell you another thing I thought about, Mike, that probably the reason why the woman that was involved with Udoka is probably can't really do anything with her. She allegedly, we don't know, reports say that she is the wife of a executive in the organization. And two, if they probably did, what type of lawsuit they probably would face, because she could say, when you look at it from a power structure, he was in a position of power. She could say that he was in a position of power. He threatened me that he would, maybe demote me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So the Celtics they having to tread lightly because they don't want to have to deal with this lawsuit if they did probably fire this female staff.
Yeah, and I understand them getting in front of it. It was just handled real funky.
It was handled real funky, like stinky funky, like chitlin funky. Like old 5-day-old collard greens funky. But anyway, so not to make light of the situation, but it was handled funky. So we're gonna see what the Celtics they got their interim guy. I think his last name is Mazzulla, and he's in Malika Andrews for ESPN. I thought she did something in bad taste. She pulled up his old pass. What does that have to do with him now? That happened 13 years ago, but that's a whole nother story. But Mazzulla is going to be the interim head coach for the season. So anyway, we'll just keep our eye on this situation and see what happens. Now let's move on to something that kind of didn't even get any really much pub. St. Louis Cardinals Albert Pujols became a member of a very distinctive baseball club in Major League Baseball, the 700 Home Run Club. He became just the fourth player in MLB history to hit 700 career home runs. He hit 2 versus the Dodgers on this past Friday night. Mike, talk about this historic number, because when you talk about baseball, 700 is one of the numbers that's you talk about.
It is historic, but seeing the lack of excitement over it speaks to the lack of the popularity of baseball. Baseball is, they do the best when it comes to preserving their history and their records and all of that. Because I remember, when Sosa and McGuire, and eventually Bonds, 20, 25 years ago, it was heated up, and here's what's going on, and people would check it out. They don't have that anymore. I think partly because we have other ways to entertain in sports. And baseball fans, where the hardcore fans go, because you can watch and find a baseball game on any station now for the most part. And I just think because of the lack of baseball promoting itself, for instance, Mike Trout. If you saw Mike Trout of the California Angels, who's considered the face of baseball, walking down the street, you probably wouldn't recognize him.
I know I would. Nope.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know him.
He's like been to all-star games in double digits. And the same thing with I can't think of his name now, but he played for the Nationals and now he's with the Phillies.
Yeah, I know exactly who you talking about. I can't think of his name either. I know who you talking about. Yeah, see,
now we can tell you who was second string quarterback is for the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Even if Dak didn't get hurt.
Right.
But that thing, baseball's become so regional, and on the East Coast, it's always going to be Boston, Philly, and New York Yankees. Always.
Yeah. Right. Pujols, he's a 22-year vet, and he now joins Barry Bonds with 762, Hank Aaron with 755, and Babe Ruth with 714, with the 4 men that have hit over 700 runs.
And those names you mentioned, the one that really stands out, I'm a big Barry fan, is Hank Aaron, because he was playing at a time when the game was so reverent. He and Willie Mays, they were, and Ricky Henderson, those kind of guys. Baseball was must-see TV or must-see game, but it doesn't work that way today.
Yeah, and just to some of his other achievements, he's a 3-time National League MVP, 11-time All-Star. He has 19.
And his career was like on life support for a minute.
It was, especially when he left St. Louis and went to the Angels, man. Nobody hear about Albert. He was out there for what? About 7, 8, about 7, 8
and he didn't. Yeah, because maybe 3 or 4 years. Because when he went back to St. Louis, I said, well, he must just going to go back there, play 1 year, and say
right.
But that hasn't happened. Good for him.
Right, yeah. Now he did say he is retiring after this season. Now he has, at the time of that, he has 10 more games to add to his mark. So, obviously I don't see him catching. He's not gonna catch Babe Ruth at 714. I don't see him hitting that many more home runs with only like 9-8 games left in the season now. But again, that's hats off to Albert Pujols to do that for 22 years. And his name, I could be wrong, Mike, but I don't think his name has ever been linked to PEDs, have it? At least I don't remember hearing it.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
He has a when I lived in Kansas City, his name would come up if he had a KC connection. I'm not quite sure what it was, but he had some cloud, but it didn't get any traction. It wasn't anything like the PEDs.
Okay.
And I mean, at this, what is cool about him, his personal life, I think his daughter has autism, or she has something, Down syndrome.
Okay.
And he has an organization, and he's really behind it, he and his wife. And what I heard him say in an interview recently, I want people with Down syndrome, many of them kids obviously, to be treated like they are somebody. And that's his whole goal with Down syndrome, is for these young folks to be treated like you and I get treated. Normal. To feel normal in a normal world.
Exactly. Because to be honest with you, we sometimes people that you think are normal really aren't. They're the ones that aren't. Anyway, so again, hats off to Albert Pujols, man. Much respect, and definitely he's going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, last topic for the night, Mike. I don't know if you got to catch that Cleveland Pittsburgh game last Thursday, and the catch that wide receiver George Pickens made.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it got me to thinking, some of the toughest and most impossible catches that we've ever seen. And I went to do some Google and I just was going off the top of my head because obviously when he made that catch, everybody started comparing it to the OBJ catch versus the Cowboys when he was with the Giants. There were some other tough, impossible catches on this list that I found. I want to ask, do you remember? You remember Steelers wide receiver Santonio Holmes versus the Cardinals in Super Bowl 43 with 42 seconds left at tiptoe in the end zone? That was, man. The toe. And then another one. Giants wide receiver David Tyree. He caught it on his helmet versus the Patriots in Super Bowl 42.
Saw that.
With Rodney Harris. Yeah. And then another Giant, Mario Manningham, sideline catch versus the Patriots in Super Bowl 46. Yeah. And then the last one, and it probably wasn't as difficult as these other ones, but this was one back from the 70s. Cowboys Hall of Fame wide receiver Drew Pearson, Hail Mary catch versus the Vikings in 1975 divisional playoff. Those are just
the original
88. Those are just a few that came, I was just thinking about off the top of my head. Then I thought about another one. And you probably would know this because I couldn't remember if it was in the Super Bowl. The Lynn Swann catch versus the Cowboys. Was that the Super Bowl versus the Cowboys?
Super Bowl against the Cowboys.
Okay. I couldn't
remember. And it was
remember.
on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So those are some of the catches, man, that, I did a little report on TFG Sports Media about that. And I was like, man, it's been some great impossible catches in the NFL history. And it's hard to rank which one is the best. Which one in your mind would you say is the greatest or the toughest one?
I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna live for the moment. When Pickens pick it out of the air, I'm gonna go with that.
Oh, you think Pickens is? Oh wow! So you go with Pickens?
He was off balance, and he was like the Matrix.
Okay. So
now,
you think Pickens was
somebody Sunday is going to do a much more excitable catch, but my number 2 is going to be Lynn Swann.
Okay, so
he was graceful. He had the grace that he did that with. I mean, that was sweet, man.
So you picking Pickens over OBJ?
Yeah, because I think because OBJ was the first to do it, and now we see it every day.
Yeah, that's true.
But now there's like it's spiced up a little bit. Yeah. Now it's done, and so no, I'm gonna go with Pickens last week.
I'm going with number 1. I think that's I went and watched the video. I think that's Santonio Holmes catch, man. Yeah, that Super Bowl, just because of the magnitude of what it meant. That pretty much was the game winner, and what he did and how he kept his toes and he got pushed as he was catching it. And I mean, I just thought that was a beautiful catch. And that George Pickens one, it's up there.
Oh,
number 2, I think I'm gonna go with the David Tyree because he was getting he was getting mauled. Rodney Harris mauled that cat.
I was at the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they didn't call in the grass on man.
Yeah. Right. That's a good point.
I was like, oh wow, they're not calling on the grass.
That's a good point. Yeah, they did.
And they didn't make that play, so I might have to bump that up a little higher because I was waiting for them to throw the flag and they didn't. Yeah. So, oh my! And now that call's never made.
No, it's never made now. So yeah. So anyway, that definitely would have been a game changer. So anyway, so I just thought that was something cool to us talk about because there's been a whole bunch of great catches on the NFL level. All right, guys, we're down to our final thoughts. I want to thank Charles, Megan for dropping in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share TFG Sports Media if you haven't. We almost at 800 subscribers on TFG Sports Media. Come on, we need your help. We got to get to 1,000. But anyway, final thoughts, Mike. What you got?
Well, Brett Favre.
Yeah, I talked about it.
I mean, this is old news. But every other day, something fresh comes out about it, and ain't nobody talking about it. Well, I know. I don't know if he's even been investigated. But now,
he is now.
He is okay, good. Mm-hmm. Because now there's information coming out like he knows where that money was coming from, who it was designed for, and so I just think if you're gonna go wall-to-wall coverage of Udoka and the Celtics. You gotta. He didn't break no laws. You gotta go with the guy who did break what appears to be a law. And I like what somebody said. said Deion Sanders is giving back to Jackson. Brett Favre is taken away from Jackson. I like that.
I love that. And to piggyback off of you, I just found out yesterday, they suspended him from his Sirius XM radio show too.
Yeah,
he's suspended. But I think suspension that ain't far enough.
He's a millionaire times 10.
Right. I talked about him last week. He's a bum, and everybody knows I'm a Packer fan. But I ain't talking about him in a football sense because ain't nothing we can do about that. That's his accolades. But as a person, he's a bum. Stealing from one of the poorest states in the 50 of them. Mississippi ranks in the bottom rank in economy, unemployment, employment, everything.
And they got the water issue going on,
right? And then to try to funnel money from the wealth, what's going to help the lowest, poorest people in that state. Yeah, he's just a bum. He's a scumbag. But anyway, my final thoughts is don't overreact over all these teams. We know the Dolphins are 3-0. They undefeated. This ain't no sprint. This is a marathon, NFL fans. So just because your team might be playing a little inconsistent, let's see when the dust clear around November, first week of November. That's when the dust will clear, and we'll find out where everybody is. So continue to watch the NFL, and then we got a good one coming up this Thursday night. So anyway, Michael, thanks for joining me. Now tell people what you got going on, where they can find you, and how's high school football season going so far?
Oh, it's cool. It's really good. I mean, save for our anchorship teams here, Legacy and your alma mater. I'm going to have to go to the private schools and pump them up a whole lot more than I have been. I mean that kind of. No, high school ball is strong. Carthage is Carthage. Longview is Longview. Among the smaller schools, you have Timpson. They're playing really good ball. So we're seeing a lot of great individual effort, and I like how things are turning out. It's going fast. We're at week 6 now.
Right. Yeah, it's moving right along.
Of course, on the college scene. Texas College is still losing. Got a new coach, but I'm trying to give them some pub, win or lose. I kind of find when coaches lose, they don't return phone calls. Mm-hmm. But in the JUCO level, TJC, they only won 1 game, and they got a new coach, first-year guy, so they're treading water. Kilgore. In fact, Navarro or Trinity Valley, I think, and TJC are going to be on ESPN Plus. On this year. So they're going to get some cool. ESPN pub,
Yeah, that's cool. All right, Mike. Well, y'all can catch him on the Red Zone on Friday night.
Red Zone.
What, 11:05? Is it 10:35 or 11:05?
10:35.
Okay.
Now, let me throw this out real quick because I don't get a chance to say this to people that don't know television, but you know television. Mm-hmm. We had our highest mark in week 2. We were 12.9. And last year we hit 13.0 in week 8. So we're ahead of where we've been in the past, and we were turning out a really solid product. Even though I'm one man short, we're putting it out there.
Yeah. And again, you can catch them you can catch the Red Zone app if you want to. You can download that app. You go to your stores, your app store, wherever. Download the app. You can catch the Red Zone there, and you can catch their stories. They update it and all that good stuff. KLTV. If you don't know, he and I are colleagues. Well, we're buddies, but we're colleagues. We work together for a long time.
We're gonna always be colleagues. We're gonna always be boys.
Hey, we're gonna make sure y'all support KLTV and support their sports director, Michael Coleman. All right, Mike. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Guys, y'all have a good night. I'll see you here again next Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. I'm out. Peace.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like whoa. I hit record a drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes.